Members of the public are welcome to address the board at this time regarding closed session items. Time is limited to 5 minutes per speaker with an accumulative time of 20 minutes. Did we receive any public comment on closed session items?
We did not.
Do we have any public comment on closed session items? Not hearing any, we will ask for any board comment on closed session items. Not hearing you, we'll go ahead and adjourn to closed session for item 3A, conference with labor negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 5495 7.6 CFT. Item 3B, conference with labor negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 5495 7.6 CTA. And item 3C, public employee performance evaluation pursuant to Government Code Section 5495-7, title Superintendent. We will now go into closed session. back into open session. Superintendent Pelfrey, are you ready?
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead and report out from closed session, item 4A, 4B, conference with labor negotiators. We have nothing to report. Item 4C, conference with labor negotiator. We have nothing to report. And item 4D, public employee performance evaluation. We have nothing to report. So we'll now move into opening business. So please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance,
to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. We will now move to item 5B, adopt the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I move.
I second.
Okay, that was Kim and then Eric. And then now we'll move to public comment. Did we receive any public comment on this item?
We did not.
Okay, do we have any public comment on adopting the agenda? Not hearing any. Do we have any board comment on adopting the agenda? Not hearing any. I will call roll call. Trustee Smith.
Aye.
Trustee Norton.
Aye.
Trustee Andal.
Aye.
Trustee Scott.
Aye.
Trustee Riggs, aye. Motion carries. Going down to 6, public hearing. Resolution 2020-21-06, Williams sufficiency of pupil textbooks and materials. Superintendent Pelfrey.
Staff has determined that at this time, the district is operating with sufficient instructional materials and is ordering additional textbooks and instructional materials as stipulated by this legislation.
Okay. With that, we will open the public hearing. Did we receive any emails to be entered in this into this public hearing?
We did not.
Do we have any public comment on 6A? Not hearing any, we will close the public hearing at this point. The next item would be 7, public comment for non-agendized items, presentations, reports, and information items. With that, did we receive any public comment on non-agendized items, presentations, reports, or information items?
Yes, we did. We received 3 letters. One letter from Josie Alamia Brown. Her concern was that plans need to be revised before more students fail, and to develop a plan to serve students with special needs, such as IEPs and 504s. She is concerned about the athletic conditioning beginning soon, and she's concerned about the Brown Act and the way we are taking public comment. Lori Powell wrote a letter or an email concerned that students need to go back to school full-time for mental health concerns. And Kim Edwards commented in email that the school should consider opening more than one day a week, and that it's happening at Sonora Elementary and working there.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any public comment on non-agendized items, presentations, reports, or information items? Not hearing. Do we have any board comment? Not hearing any. We'll go ahead and move down to 8, reports and information items, classified employee report. Danny Hinkle, do you have a report?
The only thing I really had was that we spent some time in some negotiations with Superintendent Pelfrey, Miss Sells, and Kim Evans regarding some job descriptions and so forth. And while we had negotiated our MOU, where most everything was we're all just right like that, we had a pleasant time having some give and take. It was a good experience, and if it's a preview of the way negotiations will be conducted and taken care of, then I think it's a good precursor to those things.
Okay, thank you. Certificated employees report.
I have nothing to report today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Superintendent report.
Yes. First is that Ms. Sells and Ms. Cruzy have been working tirelessly on building cohorts for our students to begin with hybrid instruction beginning on Tuesday, the 20th of October. And we'll be notifying parents which cohort their students will be in tomorrow. Also, I was tasked by the board to research public comment during the time of COVID. And that research led me to our legal counsel and to CSBA. While the process that we're using is one recommended by CSBA and vetted by our attorney, the board is seeking to create a system that allows for more meaningful public participation in the meeting, and that allows the board to continue to conduct district business in an orderly and efficient manner. CSBA has found that there is no one-size-fits-all solution. Some boards are using Zoom and other video conferencing software to allow attendees to comment in real time. Some are organizing public comments with a call-in number where you call a certain number depending on the position you choose to support. Other boards have accepted public comment through email, providing an email address for the public to submit comments in advance of the meeting. This is what we've done thus far. When there's a high in places where they're taking public comment live, when there's a high demand for public comment on a board meeting, people wishing to make many public comments on one agenda item, the public will share their position on each agenda item with a tech or somebody monitoring the meeting. If there is more people to speak than there is time permitted, then people will be chosen randomly to present each position as time allows. Also, I was tasked last week we were hoping to get our athletic conditioning plan approved. Yesterday, we received an email from the Tuolumne County Public Health Office. The recommendation from the TCPHO is to hold off on band and sports activities to focus on academics and implementation of safety plans as schools transition into in-person learning for larger groups of students on campus. The intent of holding off on extracurricular activities for now is to prevent student bubbles/cohorts from mixing as much as possible as students return to campus during those first weeks of in-person instruction. We recommend that schools allow for a few weeks of in-person learning and adjusting to all the safety measures before layering on these activities, at least for sports. The state has yet to change its guidance language, which limits band activity. Those are the words, that's the email from the TCPHO. The CDPH's guidelines on band activity are that activities where there's increased likelihood of transmission from contaminated exhaled droplets, such as band and choir practice and performances, are not permitted. So that's the news we've got coming on those two fronts. It's also important to know we gave a survey out to parents last week on whether or not their students would be attending in the hybrid option or in the distance option. And parents of approximately 160 students have chosen to remain on distance learning for the remainder of the semester. Coming into the hybrid, we have developed a return to school during COVID-19 handbook, which we'll be sending out to all parents this week. And it provides staff and parents a resource and a repository for trainings, procedures, and protocols to support and define the hybrid and hopefully later a full return. The table of contents is hyperlinked for easy navigation. It will remain a digital tool because it will be changing. As we have changes, we'll notify parents and staff that there are changes in that handbook. A piece of that handbook is the in-person instruction contract. This is a contract for students who will be returning in the hybrid model. Given the extraordinary circumstances in which we are returning to school, it's critical that health and safety protocols, district guidelines, and expectations are clear. After review, and then we'll send this document for parents to review with their students, and they need to acknowledge and agree to the contents of that document in order for the child to return to school in-person learning. They need to read and initial each one. We'll make this a fillable PDF document so that parents and students can fill it out digitally. It covers the requirements for face masks and coverings, for physical distancing, hand washing and sanitizing, the understanding that there'll be assigned seating, that classroom behavior continues to apply, the same rules apply, that it gives procedures for picking up and dropping off students, and discusses the symptom screener that we're asking parents to screen their children the very best they can before they send them to school. This is the most important factor we have for making sure we can keep school open and continue to open school more widely and to have more participation in activities, is that we have students who are showing symptoms of COVID, even though it may not be COVID, staying home so that we don't take down more, keep more students out of school and keep staff out of school. And then one of, I think, the important factors that we need to understand is that if a student or staff member for that matter does have one of the symptoms of COVID, which would be a fever over 100.4, a cough not due to another known cause such as air quality or chronic cough, difficulty breathing, shortness of breath, loss of taste or smell, a sore throat, a headache in combination with any other symptoms, muscle aches, body aches, nausea, vomiting, fatigue in combination with other symptoms, or nasal congestion or a runny nose in combination with other symptoms, would need to go home and hopefully stay home before they get here, not come to school. And we will continue to provide them distance learning while they are out during that time. To return, a staff member or student would need either a negative COVID test, a alternative diagnosis from a doctor saying that the symptoms that they are showing is not COVID, or it is something else, or they need to stay out for 10 days of isolation and not have any symptoms for 24 hours before they return. And we'll be sending those out to parents tomorrow as well.
Okay, thank you. Board of Trustees report, Student Trustee Grimes, do you have a report?
Just a little brief one. I wanted to let you guys know that the student body is very happy with the decision that has been made. A lot of kids are very excited to go back to school and really can't wait. There is a lot of outcry for it to be more days a week, but the majority understand the gradual process we need to go through in order to make sure everyone stays safe and healthy in returning. And there has been a lot of unity in the student body trying to figure out who's struggling the most during this time period and trying to help them. It's been pretty great. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. Board of Trustee members reports. Not hearing any, we'll go on to item 8E, air quality notice. Superintendent Pelfrey.
Yes, we're adopting an air quality notice. It's a management bulletin that during COVID-19, when we have poor air quality, and that's a air quality index of over 150 as determined by several sites that we use, Air Now or Purple Air, and it's confirmed by local visibility, that we will follow the shelter in place for air quality guidelines, even if they conflict with COVID protocols. And that would mean doors and windows will be closed, HVAC systems will be turned off or run in recirculation, and outside activities would be halted. And it's just very important that we understand that, and hopefully that we don't have that combination of bad air and COVID at the same time, because it does pose more risks.
Okay, thank you. 8F quarterly report on Williams uniform complaints. Superintendent Pelfrey.
We have no Williams uniform complaints for this quarter.
Okay, thank you. We will now move to 9 action items, consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
I'll
Jeannie, Nancy. Okay, with that, did we receive any public comment on the consent agenda?
We did not.
Do we have any public comment on the consent agenda? Not hearing you. Do we have any board comment?
I have a question.
Okay.
This would be for E, the fund transfers. I just had a question in reference to the 55,000 for the cafeteria, if I could get a little more explanation.
CBO Evans, would you like to comment on that?
I would be happy to. So 55,000 for the cafeteria fund, that's a budgeted fund that we contribute every year. And so it's a budgeted amount that we just need to transfer in there basically for salaries, supplies, and so forth.
Is that a standard number that we do every time, or is it, it's not due to any kind of a deficit, correct?
No,
Okay.
it's a standard number that we do every year.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. With that, any other board comment on the consent agenda? Not hearing any. Advisory vote, student trustee.
My apologies, my Chromebook's glitching out. Yes.
Okay. Then we will go to roll call. Trustee Smith.
Aye.
Trustee Norton.
Aye.
Trustee Andel.
Aye.
Trustee Scott.
Aye.
Trustee Riggs, aye. The motion carries. Now we will move on to 10 action items, discussion items. 10A is approve MOU with California School Employees Association, CSEA. Superintendent Pelfrey.
The district has met with and negotiated terms for reopening of school amidst COVID-19 pandemic with the CSEA union leadership. I'd like to thank Dan Hinkle and Shelly Anderson, Mark Christie, and Kristen Ratto for the back and forth, and appreciate the way they take care of their people and are willing to work collaboratively to solutions that work for the whole school. And we recommend approval of the MOU as presented.
Okay, with that, I would ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay, do I have
I'll
a second?
Kim?
Kim got a second, okay. Did we receive any public comment on 10A?
We did not.
Do we have any public comment on 10A? Not hearing any, we'll go to board comment. Any board comment on 10A? Not hearing any. Student board member advisory vote?
Yes.
Roll call. Trustee Smith?
Aye.
Trustee Norton?
Aye.
Trustee Andel? Okay. Trustee Andel?
Sorry, I had problems getting my mute button.
Okay.
Aye.
Okay. Trustee Scott?
Aye.
Trustee Riggs, aye. Motion carries. We'll go down to 10B. Approve resolution 2020-21-06 Williams sufficiency of pupil textbooks and materials. Mr. Pelfrey.
The district recommends approval of the resolution as presented.
Okay, with that, do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Eric,
Second.
is that Kim?
Nancy.
Oh, Nancy, I'm sorry. With that, did we receive any public comment on 10B?
We did not.
Do we have any public comment on 10B? Not hearing any board comment on 10B? Not hearing any, we'll move to student board member advisory vote.
Yeah.
Okay. Roll call. Trustee Smith,
Aye.
Trustee Norton,
Aye.
Trustee Andal,
Aye.
Trustee Scott,
Aye.
Trustee Riggs, aye. Motion carries. We'll now go to 10C. Approved parent engagement policy. Superintendent Pelfrey.
This year, we were able to participate in a federal program monitoring audit of programs that are funded by categorical federal funds. This is related to Title I funding. Title I funding is funding to help with the education of students who qualify for free and reduced lunch. One of the items that was a finding that we needed to remedy was the lack of a parent engagement policy. And that parent engagement policy's mission is to provide parents with input on how Title I funds are spent and to understand and to evaluate how Title I's are spent and if they are effective and to build programs for more effectiveness for students in Title I programs. And recommend approval of the policy as presented.
Okay, do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. With that, did we receive any public comment on this item?
We did not.
Do we have any public comment on this item? Not hearing you. Do we have any board comment? Not hearing you. We'll go to student board member advisory vote.
Yes.
Roll call. Trustee Smith,
Aye.
Trustee Norton,
Aye.
Trustee Andal,
Aye.
Trustee Scott,
Aye.
Trustee Riggs, motion carries. Item 11, future agenda items. Did we receive any public comment on future agenda items?
We did not.
Do we have any public comment on future agenda items? Not hearing any, we'll go to board comment on future agenda items.
I'd like to ask if the Sonora High School Foundation can do a presentation on what we do for the district. I forgot to mention during Board of Trustees comments that the new sound system in the Bedcastle Gym has been installed. We're in the process of getting the video portion of it ordered and installed as well. And so they've just asked if they can make a presentation to the board so the board knows exactly what the foundation does.
I second that. I'd kind of like to know more. I know they do good things, but I couldn't sit here and tell you exactly what.
Okay, thank you. Any other board comment?
This is not a board comment on a future agenda item, but I didn't have a chance to ask if we had made a decision on for some of the freshmen for orientation, so some of the freshmen would know the school. I know it's a little out of order, but I didn't have a chance to ask you earlier if we had an idea.
Yes, we will be working with freshmen. We do have a video orientation, but we'll be putting together something to make sure that freshmen are guided about campus using our Link Crew. Or I believe Link Crew is the proper name for this group. Is that right, Acacia?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry I was out of order.
Okay. Any other board comment on future agenda items?
I'd like to
oh, go ahead.
Propose a discussion item for our next meeting on establishing a policy for public comment.
Okay.
Revisiting a policy for public comment.
Okay. Okay, that, if you put it on for discussion as you build the agenda. Okay, any other comments for future agenda items?
I don't know that it's needs to be on the next meeting, but actually an upcoming meeting would be good as an update on the Wildcat Ranch as to where we're at with things there.
Any other comment on the future agenda items from the board? Okay. Not hearing any, then we've come to item 12, adjournment. The meeting